These are the Guyana countries, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana. A bunch of lands located in South America but does not speak Spanish or Portuguese. A bunch of South American lands that do not fit into Latin American culture, but associate themselves with the Caribbean culture. The Guyana countries are so detached from South America that they do not even play in the Copa America. It's like having a few classmates that you did not know existed until graduation day. So, who are these oddballs? Well, for a start, the term Guyana generally refers in Brazil. Historically, Guyana had been nicely carved up by European colonization. The Spanish bits are now a part of Venezuela, the British bits became Guyana, the Dutch bits became Suriname, the French bits are still French, and the Portuguese bits are now a part of Brazil. This colonization frenzy kinda began when the Pope split the world between Portugal and Spain, and these two countries proceeded in carving up American territories like nobody's business. The Spanish and Portuguese dudes were the first to claim the region around the Guyanas. In the 17th century, the Dutch Empire emerged as a major maritime power, competing with the English and the French empires. The Dutch dudes established colonies in modern-day Guyana, whilst the English dudes colonized modern-day Suriname. French dudes colonized the region around Guyana with varying success, because the Portuguese and Amerindians were not happy with the French dudes. The Dutch later kicked the English out of Suriname, and kept harassing the French in the Guyanas. Not happy being kicked out of Suriname, the English joined the fun in harassing the French as well. You might be wondering, why did Spain allow the Dutch to colonize the Guyanas in South America without fighting back? Well, this is because Spain had formally recognized the independence of the Netherlands in 1648, effectively promising to be nice to the Dutch people and its colonies. Also, by the late 17th century, Portugal and Spain had largely lost their global maritime dominance, and thus allowing the new big bullies to do whatever they want around the world. To attract more settlers, the Dutch in Guyana began inviting some Brits over, and British people eventually became the majority European population in Guyana. There was a growing tension between the British planters in Guyana and the Dutch West India Company, because taxation. France, on the other hand, encouraged their own French people to settle in Guyana. The Europeans also brought in a lot of African slaves to work on the plantations in Guyana. Unsurprisingly, the African slaves were not happy being exploited, so they revolted, but failed. Throughout the late 18th century, the Dutch, Britain, and France fought every so often for the control of the Guyana colonies. During the Napoleonic Wars, France occupied the Netherlands. Britain took control of the Guyana colonies to prevent France from taking over. After the Napoleonic Wars, Guyana remained under British control, Suriname was returned to the Netherlands, and the French Guyana was returned to France. In the 19th century, slavery was more or less abolished in the Guyana colonies. So, to compensate for the loss of slave labor, the Europeans brought in exploitable cheap labor. In British Guyana, the Brits imported laborers from India. In Suriname, the Dutch imported Chinese, Javanese, and Indian laborers.
Okay, I think we
In
stop
French Guyana,
there.